Now, I'm using this word paradigm without much apology. For about 15 years, I wanted to use the word, but I didn't dare to, because I was afraid someone would ask me what it meant. And you may have the same problem. So I thought I'd better invent my own definition. So I have. And this is what it is. And this is fundamental to what we're doing today, and what we're discussing today, and the things that I'm angry about. So it's these things all related to one another: words and concepts, values and principles, methods and processes, behaviors, not normally included in paradigms, not at all. But if you go to Thomas Kuhn and all that stuff, it's all physical. Behaviors and relationships, which is a word which is very, very important in development, but actually not very much used. And in the middle of all this is kind of us. It's mindsets, ways of seeing things, ways of doing things. But these are all interrelated. And the question that I throw to you, and I think one of these handouts, I hope, has got this on it. The question I'd like to throw to you is whether we've got a tension in development, and it doesn't have to be a negative one, a tension between a paradigm of things and a paradigm of people. And on this side, you can see top-down, centralized, standardized, controlling, blah, 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 blah. We are teachers and benefactors. We have fixed goals. People are beneficiaries, that very commonly. How many of us use the word and don't like it? I use the word because it's very, very difficult to find a substitute. If any of you have got a good substitute, please tell me, because it will liberate me from this agony of using this word, which has got implications. You know, that you're a benefactor, they're the beneficiaries, giving, and so on. Accountability upwards, and this fits with infrastructure and reports, linear, reductionist, simplifying things, and measurement. Everything's got to be measured on this side. And this fits with things. If we're building a bridge, you've got to be on this side. You've got to be. And on this side, it's all the opposites of this. And if you're interested, there's a working paper 344 which you can download, which has got this in much more detail, elaborating on the different methods and the rest of it. But decentralized, diverse, local, democratic participation, emergence. Emergence is a very, very important word. This is the side of complexity, by the way, and complexity science and complexity theory, which has got its own rigor. And again, if any of you are interested in rigor for complexity, I've got a draft paper on this, and I will be happy I will happily send any of you a copy of this draft paper if you will promise that you will send critical comments and suggestions, because it's in draft, and I'm sure it's all over the place at the moment, and I need help. But the goals actually are not fixed, they're evolving. Because with emergence, things change. And one of the indicators of a good participatory monitoring process, in my view, is whether the indicators change. If you have the same indicators at the end of the project as you have at the beginning, I think you can ask yourself, is something wrong? Because if it's really participatory, and if things are really changing, then people's indicators will change. And we know this empirically, where there have been good participatory processes over a number of years. So that's a challenge, an indicator that the indicators change. It's completely contrary to what goes on this side. And then iterative systems, judgment instead of measurement. But they don't have to be either or. Now, on this side, two professions have been really dominant, and particularly were since the end of the Second World War with the Marshall Plan. What professions? Economics and
statisticians?
Well, yes. Yes, certainly. Statisticians, economists, statisticians.
No. No.
Education? Population?
Trade.
I should have asked you. I mean, well, maybe somebody said it and I didn't hear, because I'm slightly deaf, but it's still in the state of senile denial. So, no, economists and engineers. And there's a language which goes with engineering. And on this side we've got the log frame. I mean, this now could be, it's gone beyond the log frame. Now, it's this payment by results, for instance, is an extension of this. This is out of date. It hasn't kept, this is me, it's my fault. I haven't kept this up to date. And of course the idea of income poverty on this side. But it's the way in which the language of engineering has penetrated development is really quite striking. At this, you won't believe it, but at this thing I went to in New York, which was a really interesting part of the future of the UN development system, they're talking about leveraging partnerships. Leveraging? I mean, a lever is, it's completely, the leverage is completely on this side. And then results. I mean, who can be against results? I'm not against results. But if the results are prefixed, then you're saying it's a bridge that we're building. And if it turns out that the bridge isn't what's wanted, we can't change because it's a bridge that we're going to be judged on and paid by, according to. So there's a rigidity on this side, which, and even the word deliver, who can be against delivering? But deliver to me means delivering the groceries, or sort of bringing something physical. I think our mindsets are altered by the language that we use, and becoming aware of the language and critical of the languages is really significant. So someone from Action Aid, I used to be on the Action Aid board, and I remember Barbara Harris and I, we were both there, we fought against and failed completely. We fought against the tide of private sector, neoliberal language coming into the NGO sector. Brand, the word brand, it used to be image, which was a bit softer, but then it became brand, and we fought against it, and we lost. We couldn't keep brand out. Everybody wanted to talk about brand, and now it's just accepted. It's part of the way in which we think in the NGO sector. We think in a private sector manner, and does it matter? And that's another question. Well, each one of us can have our own answers to that, but I also believe that if you can change the language in a good way, that may provide opportunities for mindsets to change. And on mindsets, it's really interesting. Have any of you seen the latest World Development Report? No? The latest World Development Report is on mindsets and on culture and how we know. It's got fascinating stuff in it. But what is so interesting is that the people preparing it were challenged right at the end to reflect on their own mindsets which influenced how they put together the World Development Report. Because if they're talking all the time about mindsets, they should reflect on their own. Did they do it? No. They couldn't take that last step, but if they had, and this was what they were told, if you can do this, you will set a brilliant example to the whole development sector, that we reflect on ourselves and the ways in which we see things. So enough on this. When we start thinking then about how we learn, and this is meant to be about data collection. Is it collection? Is in the title of this one, I think. Data collection. Well, it implies we are collecting, we are using participation to collect from them, rather than we are empowering them to do their own collecting. So that's attention running through today. To get there though, let's start by looking at questionnaires. Now this is really interesting. I think there's more experience of questionnaires than there is of anything else except long phrase. So I mean this is I mean in terms of participatory research, this is a very, very valuable document because it shows how far we've gone. I mean, you've terrific knowledge of long frames. Mind you did long frames yesterday, didn't you?
Yes.
So you've got to put a cross there. Otherwise you'd be in trouble. But all the same, there is a huge amount of knowledge of long frames. And not bad. Focus groups and so on. But let's look at questionnaires, because questionnaires are the sort of, they're the, you know, research, finding out about things, and questionnaire, leisure. So I'm going to show you something over here. So we'll need to turn the chairs around.